Hello, everyone. It's good to see you. Good to have you with us again for another Life Stories broadcast coming to you from Life Stories Worldwide. This is going out live on Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube. We bring you stories from across the world, people who overcome different issues in their life, different struggles, dealing with issues like abuse, rejection, and other issues, and how those lives have been transformed. Today, we have a story coming to you from Birmingham in the UK. And let me remind you, these life stories can be viewed again, time and time again, on our website. You can go to our YouTube channel, Life Stories at Lunch. And if you subscribe there, then you'll get notifications of any other broadcasts. And if you prefer just to listen, if you log into Spotify and go to Life Stories Worldwide Radio, then you can listen to these stories that are going out every Monday. Please encourage your friends to listen to these stories. They're amazing stories which will help and encourage you. You can find lots of information on our website, lifestoriesworldwide.com. And we encourage you to go there. And if you need help, then contact us on our hotline, +44 794 355 0287. Today, we have a husband and wife who are going to share. Michael and Chalmere Davis, who I say are from Birmingham. Michael is a musician. He has played in many places like the Albert Hall and Greenbelt. He's done many performances. And more recently, he's released some worship songs. And at the end, you'll be able to listen to one of his songs. Chalmere is an author and a social worker. She's originally from the Caribbean, and she's a qualified social worker, as I say, but she had a passion for writing, and she's written many, many books. So today, we're going to introduce, first of all, Michael, who's going to share with you, and then Chalmere. So over to you, Michael. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you. A privilege to be sharing my life story with you and our life stories with you. Starting from the early beginnings, I won't say how far back I go, but I grew up in a church-going household. Background was very much a kind of black Pentecostal environment where going to church wasn't an optional extra. It was no choice as a child. Every single week you went, and there were meetings inside the week as well, which was informative, not necessarily interesting for a child growing up in modern day Britain. But it also gave me that sense of awareness of God. So even though I wasn't necessarily a follower as a youngster, I had this sense of being aware of God and faith in God and believing in him, and sort of learned a lot through the kind of sermons I would hear every Sunday. I was attending at Sunday school, so I kind of learned most of the stories of the Bible and understood the basic principles of the Bible. But my intention and my ambition was to become a footballer. That was my whole aim. I was absolutely enthralled by the activities of the three guys who played for West Bromwich Albion: Cyril Regis, Laurie Cunningham, Brendan Batson, and they were my inspiration. And as far as I was concerned, I was going down the road to be a footballer. Much to my mother's disgust and opposition, and she was definitely intending otherwise. And so we had many challenges and battles as to how we would navigate me trying to be a footballer and her trying to keep me going to church and on the straight and narrow path of life. One of the ways in which we mitigated things was that the deal was I could play on a Sunday if I went to Sunday school first. So it was get ready for Sunday school, walk to church. As soon as Sunday school finished, race home, get my kit, and off I'd go to play football. Absolutely loved it. And the guy who managed the team would pick me up and take me back home again. But the deal was once I got back home from football, I'd eat some food and then have to go back to an evening service. And evening services back in those days were a regular occurrence. And it was during one of those services where I could play piano just a little bit. I knew kind of most of the basic chords in each of the keys. And I heard them singing a song. And for some reason, this particular Sunday, my ear just couldn't tolerate the guitarist who was playing incorrectly. And that drove me to get up out of my seat for the first time and go and sit on the piano. It was a school hall that I used to attend as a junior. So I literally went on the piano and started playing along with this song, just trying to create better music. And that was kind of my journey for several months, in fact, maybe a couple of years. And through that experience, still playing football, I had this real sense of an awareness of God, more than just a head knowledge, and had this real sense of my fulfillment in life would come from following Jesus, but by making a decision to walk with him, that no amount of anything else was going to give me the happiness and the sense of purpose that I would need for life. And that prompted me to make a positive declaration of faith and a decision to follow Jesus. And that was pretty much a route into following Jesus, but also a route into the music that would form a major part of my life. And so I was playing and worshiping and being a part of church and trying to learn all the things that Jesus taught us through his word. And through that process, I was conscripted. I use the word conscripted very well advisedly. There was a man who operated, or also ran a gospel group called the Majestic Singers. They were very prominent in the 80s and certainly was one of the foremost gospel groups or choirs of its time, doing a work with Kingsway Music and the rest. And they had gone through a transition and needed a keyboard player. And he literally called me one day and said, "You're going to play for this group." And I went, "Well, there's no way I'm anywhere near good enough to play."
Life Stories. Life Stories Worldwide is brought to you every Monday night at 8 p.m. UK time. We broadcast live on Facebook, Zoom and YouTube. So why not join us every Monday night at 8 p.m. UK time.
I could play a bit, but certainly not to the standard that I certainly heard other people doing. But he was very insistent and really impressed and said, "Look, I believe this is something that you need to do. So don't be fearful, step into it and see where it takes you." And it was a baptism of fire, a very challenging early start to playing what I'd call high standard music. But it certainly was God-led and God-intended, because that was the doorway to, as Alan said, traveling around the country, certainly working with the group and other organizations to promote the gospel, to tell the gospel story through music and through song. And that took us to various places, many churches across the country. Most Saturday evenings and Sundays would be out and about on a coach, going somewhere to a variety of churches, Pentecostal churches, evangelical churches, Church of England churches. So things like Greenbelt was a great privilege to play in the big tent. Lewis Palau came to Mission for London, those you can remember that far back. And we were one of the groups that were part of the ministry for that evening. So I happened to walk out into the Albert Hall stage and play on that great stage. It was a great opportunity for me in my younger years. But it kind of led me down a road of recognizing what God would intend and use through the medium of music. And so I got a sense of this growing awareness of it wasn't just music, it wasn't just playing a piano. There were life-changing moments for people. One particular story I recall was we were preparing some songs, and the leader of the group, Justin Lewis, he said, "Let me just share a story with you guys." And he read out a letter that he'd been sent in the post from someone who had listened to one of the group songs. I think one of the albums was being played on a gospel radio station or Christian radio station. And this person had written that they were about to commit suicide and was just really at the end of their life. Turned the radio on and heard one of the songs off the album, and it literally transfixed them to the point where they decided not to commit suicide. Wrote a letter to the manager of the group and said, look, thank you for the ministry of this choir, because through this, my life has changed. I'm now seeking to follow Jesus as a result. And that was such an awakening moment for me to think, wow, the message can be that powerful through song to even turn a life around from committing suicide. And so I think one of the key messages I'd want to share is that recognition and acknowledgement of the very special privilege and opportunity that I have to impact people's lives through the power of music and song. And now the songs of heaven, and God gives us these songs and gives us this music to share in a way that can impact people's lives in such a dramatic manner. Beyond that, I think throughout my journey, I've been able to play with a variety of different people, different groups. So beyond the group that I joined, the Majestic Singers, I think playing music was just a popular thing back in those days of just joining different groups and sharing music. What I didn't quite appreciate was that this was God's plan to shape what I would be doing, and his way of teaching me and showing me on that journey how I could acquire the requisite skills, understanding and appreciation of all that he has purpose for my life. So taking us into different venues, churches, halls, large venues, pubs, universities, shopping centres, sometimes just sharing a Christmas message through Christmas song and being able to interact with the general public, people who attend those events, typically concerts or music events, and being able to share the message with them, either through the song, the message of the song, or even afterwards being able to kind of discuss and converse what the songs are about and what they mean. Has been such a remarkable experience. One of the key moments of my journey, I think, particularly in terms of moving through to where I am now, was being invited to attend the songwriters consultation. And this was an event organised by Graham Kendrick, a few other guys, some of the prominent worship leaders and songwriters of the UK Christian music scene. They would gather songwriters and worship leaders together and go through this whole process of development, talking about the message that we're trying to share, how we go about doing that, the importance of and the role of the worship leading and how that can have an impact on people's lives. And that was definitely a moment of not just learning, but really trying to hone the skills and the craft that I have in a way that can really start to bring impact to people's lives. So over the years of teaching, fellowship, sharing with others, learning some of those techniques and skills, but also just recognizing the awesome privilege of taking the message of God and putting them into the mouths of people. And that's one of the phrases that we sort of shared during our times together. We have this opportunity to put truth into people's mouths, and through songwriting and through leading of worship, particularly in that church setting, we can bring the truth of God to people's lives so that they are awakened to wonder, they are alert to the message of the kingdom and all that entails. But my life isn't just about music. I'm a husband to a wonderful wife who's here from in a bit. She's inventive, creative, industrious, and she'll probably smile at me for saying that.
You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Life Stories at Lunch, where you can see and hear many more life stories. Don't forget to click the bell so we can notify you when we are live on YouTube.
I'm a father to two great lads, two young men, and I work as an accountant in my day job. So all of the sort of worship, music, songwriting happens in my spare time. So my 9 to 5 is being an accountant. And so I'm subject to all of the normal challenges of everyday life. And we all go through them. We're not exempt from them, and they're not particular or special to us because we're Christian. And so God gives us the opportunity to apply our faith to those very normal everyday situations and even the big challenges of life. And certainly and we have faced significant challenge where we've had to really decide how much we do believe what we say. And often it's easy to give a testimony when things are going okay. And express faith when everything seems to be all right. But it's more of a challenge when things aren't going right, when prayers aren't necessarily answered the way we anticipate, or when we go through significant struggle or challenge. And it's in those moments where what we believe becomes even more apparent. And so that real sense of challenge to the faith and being prepared to stand through that, even when the outcome isn't great, has been one of the reflections of my life, certainly of the last sort of 5-10 years, where I'm having to really work out, do I really believe that? And if I do, am I prepared to stand for it? And yes, if it means difficulty, yes, I'll still stand in that truth. If it means challenge, yes, I'll still stand in that truth. I'll still declare my faith in Jesus, my walk with Jesus, even through those moments. And so it's a reflection of gratitude and thankfulness that I kind of say that God gives us these opportunities to declare the truths of the kingdom, to bring the truths of heaven to earth, to share those experiences with people through song, through led worship, through my everyday life, and also the opportunity to share that with people who are also on the similar path in terms of developing their giftings and callings. And so I'm grateful and thankful to God that he's called me for purpose. Thankful that I can still remain in that purpose even through the challenges of life, and to convey the message of his truth through those specific moments of songwriting and music, right through to those everyday challenges of life. So looking back over the years, I didn't ever perceive that my early, 3-chord playing would take me to a point at which I'm able to express a thought from God in song, where I'm able to share in music, where I'm able to lead in worship, and I lead at my local church on a regular basis. and to express those things of God, those things that I've learned, and apply them in a faith concept so people can join in with that as well. Very, very thankful for that journey. And even in sharing with Chalmere, my wife, some of those skills helps in the journey she's going through in terms of being even able to help with editing and just having a creative perspective. So that's my story. I hope it's been of some benefit to you, and I'll hand over to Chalmere to tell her stage of the story.
Thank you. Well, how do I follow that? I suppose my story is quite different in the respect that Michael grew up in a Christian household, and I didn't grow up in a Christian household. It was very different. Grew up with my siblings in Birmingham, and I always had a sense of wonder. I grew up just thinking, what is beyond the stars? What's beyond the clouds? What's beyond? I was always looking at something beyond, feeling a sense that there was something bigger or greater than what I was presented every day with, which always used to intrigue me and still give me a sense of awe and wonder. And I don't know, for a small child, it was just, I suppose, mystifying. I was always looking beyond. And I can remember we started to go to Girls' Brigade when I was quite young, and I really enjoyed that. And it was at a Methodist church, and we used to do different events for getting your badges, like, how to make a fire, how to cook a small meal, how to put things together, sewing tips and so on. And whenever you achieved certain parts of this, then you would get a gift. And one of the days I actually got the gift of a Bible which contained all the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And when I got that, I thought, oh, wow, because I enjoyed reading at the time. I thought, wow, this is the Bible, not realizing there was more to the Bible than just these 5 Gospels. I was like, oh, I'm going to read the Bible from cover to cover. And I didn't start straight away, but I thought this was it. This was the Bible. This was something about what people told me about God. And I thought, all right, at some point, I am actually going to read this, and I'm going to learn about who this person is. And I didn't do it straight away, because as a child, you just get on with life, and, you go to school, you eat sweets, you just carry on. But in my teens, one Christmas day, my sister decided to go to church, because we'd grown out of the whole, I suppose, the fairy tale bit about Christmas and sweets and all of this sort of thing and gifts. We wanted to do something else. And so we went along to it was a Christmas Sunday service. And when I went there, that's when so much of my life changed. And I gave my heart to God, as the saying went at the time. And for me at that point, it was just a sense of peace, a peace to some of the questions I'd been asking, a peace to this sort of searching as a young child about what is out there, what is beyond all of this. I was always looking at what's beyond. And that sense of peace then for me was, right, I've found something really special.
Life Stories Worldwide is brought to you every Monday night at 8 p.m. UK time. We broadcast live on Facebook, Zoom, and YouTube. So why not join us every Monday night at 8 p.m. UK time? Life Stories.